computer. There we go.
Here we
Hey,
go.
we're back.
We're back, everybody. Welcome back to Florida West Coast Fishing Report with Captain George Hastick and me, Captain Sergio. And guess what? We are out there ready to go if this wind would die down a little. But George, let's mention something while the show just got started. We'll mention a couple times doing next Monday and the following Monday, there will be no podcast because it's Christmas week and New Year's week.
We're giving everybody a break.
Yeah. Well, we know everybody's either going to be vacationing, doing things with their family, and
Shopping.
shopping, last minute shopping. And then for New Year's, all the families are still around. So we figure we just, give everybody a break,
Yep. Without
And
a doubt.
if you can only get the wind to die down, we'll be a lot better off. It's been horrendous the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it's been hey, I'm shaking over here. There we go. Earthquake.
There you go.
But yeah, we the other day I moved one of my trips. I had a regular client, and then the morning was decent, and then the afternoon when the tide was coming back in got real windy.
Wow. Yeah. Like I said, it's Saturday I was doing that thing for Boat Motor and Superstore, and early in the morning was calm. And about 8:30, the wind started. And man, I tell you, Lake Tarpon had a white cap on it.
Yeah.
I took a few people out for a boat ride with my boat. They wanted to ride the Skeeter. And we had white caps at Lake Tarpon.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Here, I'll give you a laugh. Check out my shirt I'm wearing.
The Rod Father?
Yeah.
Who gave you that, Barbara?
No, one of my buddies gave it to me years ago.
Oh.
I just found it. I don't think I've worn it maybe twice.
Well,
but I was going through the closet and I found this. I'll wear this tonight, but it wasn't showing up on the camera, unfortunately.
Now that you said that, I need to make a note to send you the new logos.
Right.
For your screen.
Yep. I deleted some of the ones we needed to and got room for the new ones.
All right. Yep. I just made a note. You know what? If I make a note, it's funny. I don't forget. I don't make a note, I forget.
Yep. You just got to remember not to forget to make a note.
That's right. So what do you hear out there on the streets about what's going on? Because I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of people going out with this weather.
There's not a lot of people going out, but the ones that are going out are they're being rewarded. At worst, if you can't find your snook or redfish bite, the trout around the bay has been really good. There's been a good trout bite. They're making a comeback. They had I don't know, a little while ago there was better ones that moved in to where we started hearing a lot about 18 to 20-inch ones. Now it's kind of gone in reverse a little bit, and we're back down into that 14 3/4-inch ones, just undersized. A few keepers, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot that are being caught that are just under the slot right now.
But at least there's action.
Oh yeah, a lot of action. There's a lot of juvenile reds. There's a few areas that are holding some a little bit better size reds. But the trout action, they've been eating everything. Soft plastics. We were getting them on the little PNV on the last trip I took out, and that was in about 6 feet, I would say, over grass. Some of the areas where I thought they would be, they weren't. Over some hard bottom that we like, and they weren't there, but they were on the grass. So they're playing the edge of the grass where it first starts to get into that 6, 7, maybe even 8 foot deep, just grassy areas with sand holes. But the snook, if you can bring them white bait, they'll eat it. As long as that water's moving, they'll eat it. Because it hasn't been super cold lately, if you've noticed.
No, the water was in the 60s, though. Water temperature.
Yeah, 64, 60, 64 and a half.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
That's about right when you get into the borderline of the snook. Starts getting any lower than that, I think they get sluggish.
Now, I don't know if that's me. I'm going to unplug here and tell me if my sound is okay.
Oh, your sound is good. Oh, you're off. You're dead now. I lost you. Oh, there goes George. He was doing good. I don't know what happened. But anyway, we got Mr. Gato Fish. Mr. Catfish is on the air with us. Rolando Alonso. That's my main man. If you ever want to enter a catfish tournament, you can Call him. He'll guarantee you some beautiful catfish. That and sheephead. He's also a good sheephead fisherman, but I think he's a little better catching catfish. You know. So George is still having problems. But again, if anybody that's listening in, if you went out in the last 2 or 3 days, let me know what the fishing report was like with you. We only got a few because a lot of our regular captains haven't gone out.
How about now?
Yeah, now you're okay. You didn't have a problem before.
I'm here. Maybe I don't know. I'm hearing stuff on my end though.
No, you were fine.
Okay.
You were fine before. I was just telling them that that we got the catfish king here, Rolando Alonso.
Oh, Rolando,
line,
he's always picking on you, buddy.
He's my guy. He's that, and he's good at sheephead fisherman too. Very good at catching sheephead. So he's good at both of them.
So I see we got Ken Burke, Michael Haynes, Linda Burke, Donald's on, Rolando. How you guys doing? Appreciate you tuning in.
Now, Donald, I want to know something. Okay, here it is. When he said about what he did last Saturday, looks like everybody told, but he didn't say much about catching fish. Now he said 40 sodas loaded with keeper, trout, and redfish. Oh, I lost you again?
No. Oh. It does it on its own, Holta. Okay. I didn't touch nothing.
but no, that's good to hear. I hear a lot of good reports about trout, which is this is the time of the year.
Yeah, Donald.
Great time to fish with artificials.
Oh yeah, Donald is saying Fort DeSoto is loaded with keeper trout and redfish. He lands them on paddle tails, and yeah, there's, I used to for a long time, when the winter time would come, like now, I would run my charters all out of Maximo Park, and I would just run that whole area down there, and it would be redfish, and then if not, the trout bite was always good down there. So I don't know. I'm almost thinking about doing that this year, running down there more.
Yeah, that might be an idea, just to run out there. Now they tell me, does anybody know, is the Maximo Park ramp all fixed up now? Or are they still working on it?
Yeah, I don't know. Last I heard they were still working on it, but I don't know. This week I didn't hear anything, and they were using that little boardwalk on the one side to let people on and off their boats, because that was the only place that wasn't messed up. Now, Alejandro said he couldn't fish this past weekend. It was too windy. Yeah, that's nothing new.
Oh yeah. Now I talked to Bucky, and he said last Sunday Sunday or yesterday, was it? Maybe yesterday. He got there real early to launch his boat, and they had paved the parking lot at Campbell Causeway.
Oh, I did hear about that.
And but he said he left about 7:15, and he said then he found out they opened it up around 7:30 in the morning. But he said it's all paved now, and
nice.
Docks is okay. So
it needed it. Now that's funny. Remember what I was just saying to you about 14 3/4 inch, just undersized?
Yeah.
Ken says he went out yesterday. They caught 20 trout, 13 to 14 and 7/8.
Went out of yesterday, caught 20 trout. Yeah.
That's funny, isn't it?
Well, hey, but at least they're there.
It's action, and it's good to see, because you got to remember, after that red tide, you couldn't catch a trout anywhere. I mean, it was really scarce to catch a trout, which is bad, because that really was everybody's fallback. If nothing wanted to bite, you could always go to a good grass flat and catch a bunch of trout, and it wasn't like that for a few years.
So I hope the weather's good for Wednesday, because you and I are supposed to go out filming.
Yep. I don't know. It's looking a little shaky. Hopefully they'll change it.
Oh, the last time I looked, the wind was going to be down.
Yeah.
But somebody said the rain is going to be up.
They said 50% chance of rain last time I looked. Yeah. So hopefully they got that.
We'll have to make up our minds by 3:00.
Let me see.
Is that another front coming through?
I don't know if it's a front. It might be. I'm pulling it up now just to see what they are saying now for the forecast. Let's see, 7-day forecast. Yeah, they still got it at 40% tomorrow and 50% on Wednesday.
What about Thursday?
Thursday is 20% breezy. Friday's breezy.
Okay.
Saturday is cold, but Saturday and Sunday are cold. 48 and 45 in the morning, 63 and 67 in the afternoon, but they're sunny as can be.
Oh, yeah.
Figures.
Well,
Uh,
we'll see what we can do.
yep.
Well, we'll figure it out tomorrow by 3:00. If it's still going to be really bad, then we can't do it. But
Yeah, I mean that's all there is to it, you know.
all right.
If it comes down to it, you
All
know.
right. Any other fishing reports out there? Come on. All you other guys have got. Ken Burke gave us a fishing report. Donald gave us one. Hey, what about Rolando, man? He hasn't been out. I'm telling you.
Now I hit some sheepshead spots on Tuesday and Sunday, and we got a couple. Had a few misses, you know, they just weren't used to, you know, sheepshead bite can be kind of tricky.
Right.
This old black guy I used to know, he was funny as could be. He used to fish off the pier all the time, and he would always have a full bucket of sheepshead. He was really good at it. And he jokingly one day he says to me, he goes, "George, you want to know the secret to catching a lot of sheepshead?" I said, "Sam, tell me what's the secret to catching a lot of sheepshead." "You gotta set the hook right before they bite." So
that's true. I mean, you put it down when you think they might bite, you pull. And look at Donald said he went out Sunday, keeper trout 20 to 15 pounds, 15 inches. I'm sorry. That's good. That's good. Some 20 to 15 inch.
nothing wrong with that.
What area, Donald, did you go out of? Just general area. Was it Fort DeSoto?
Yeah, that was the
Was it Tarpon, or was it Tampa Bay? Just wonder where he, because
that was, I think, for that celebration that he was talking about.
Oh, okay. The one with
Neil Taylor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really did. I used to do that a lot. I got away from it, but for the longest time, I used to every year, wintertime, I would just go down there. O'Neill's have the great, you know, you could buy whatever it was, 5 dozen for $10, you know, and you get a mix of size, that and throw lures. And man, sometimes the trout down there was, I had a guy one time, he came down from New Jersey, he was friends with my cousin, so he hired me, and we were putting 2 rods out, and then finally he said, "Cap," he goes, "put the 1 rod away, I can't keep up." Because it literally was one trout after another.
Now, if any of you guys out there know where there's a bunch of fiddlers, I want to go out. I got to get some good footage of a bunch of fiddlers running through the mangroves. I can't find them anywhere like I used to around Tampa Bay.
I don't know right now with the cold snaps that we had if they all went down, but Fort DeSoto had a lot of them.
Where though? What part of Fort DeSoto?
Kind of, I'll tell you off camera because I
Okay.
don't want to mess up a bait spot.
No, I understand. But yeah, I like to get some footage of a bunch of fiddlers running through the mangroves for our, a couple of our shows, because we're going to be doing next month. We're going to be doing some sheephead fishing.
Oh yeah,
out there in deep water, and hopefully they're in, and we get some of those big ones.
Right. And what we could do is we could put like a little Godzilla doll down there and make it look like they're running.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Yeah. Donald said he passed out about $500 worth of baits to people that came to that memorial.
Was that live or artificial baits? Donald?
Here's a worm for you.
Yeah, worm for you. Yeah,
Well, I'm going to assume artificials because when you're talking $500 worth,
yeah,
I'm sure it was all soft plastics. And this time of year,
no,
somebody's here. Somebody's here.
Somebody drove up my driveway because I got an 85-foot driveway. So once you go past the gate, I got a sensor that lets me know you came in.
Right.
Artificials, well, okay.
Let me tell you guys about. I got something written here for. They're doing promotional prices for fishing licenses right now, and the one thing that's really good is they're pushing it for juniors to try and get the kids more involved in fishing. And they're doing the Lifetime Sportsman for kids up to 17 years old, and they have different pricing, but basically they're doing 50% off.
Wow.
So yeah, this is really a good deal. Now, even if your kid wasn't fishing, it's ages 0 to 4. You could buy your kid a license and he would be set for life. He would never have to worry about getting in trouble of if his license expired. But 0 to 4 years old, $200 for a lifetime license. $200. That's well worth it.
Mhm.
And then ages 5 to 12. I don't know why the price should change, but it does. Ages 5 to 12, it's 350, but that's for lifetime. And then 13 to 17 is $500. Okay. But that's half
The
price
rest
of
of
what
their
it,
life. Yeah.
for the rest of your life. But seriously, even if you have a little kid that's 1 or 2 years old that's not into fishing yet, for $200, you could buy that license and it would cover him for his life.
That's right. 'Cause,
Now,
he's going to grow up and get past that age.
right? And then the annual, a yearly freshwater saltwater combo license for all ages, they dropped it to $5 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, $5. And then the annual gold sportsman, they brought that down to $49.25.
Now, what's a gold sportsman?
Well, the gold sportsman is where you have saltwater, freshwater, hunting, snook, and lobster.
Wow.
And it's also for like if you go to a what do they call it? A management area, a wildlife management area.
Uh-huh.
If you go to one of those and you want to hunt like with a muzzle loader or different bow and arrow, crossbow, it covers that too.
Wow.
Okay, so this is um a yearly gold sportsman is $49.25. If you buy the 5 year, it's $246.25. So that's good deals. And like I'm saying, the lifetime sportsman, you can't get a better deal than that. $200 if you get in there when he's young or she.
Yeah.
And then this is if you're going to take advantage of it, this is only lasting until January 3rd, 2025, January 3rd. And you can do it online at gooutdoorsflorida.com. That's gooutdoorsflorida.com. If you don't want to go to the tax office.
So take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a good deal. $200 for lifetime. And not for nothing, a freshwater saltwater combo license for $5. That's dirt cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that'll make one heck of a nice Christmas present.
And that's all stemmed from Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis is the one who put that all into place.
Yeah. I'm afraid we're going to lose him.
Yeah, gotta see what happens.
We'll see.
Donald said it was hard baits, soft plastics, and about 100 custom-made flies and pompano jigs. That's awesome.
I wonder, and if he made them, you think?
I don't know.
I wonder if
I don't know because
Donald did them himself.
Alejandro makes them too. I don't know if maybe he got some from him too, or I'm not sure.
Now,
Donald, where'd you get the custom-made flies from, or did you buy them yourself?
And then I noticed a little earlier, he said they were all sitting there having a good time smoking a cigar last Saturday. Donald, do you smoke cigars?
I never got into that, but a lot of people do. I got a lot of clients.
I got some clients that love,
they love it.
I got some that only have one every once in a while, 3 or 4 a year. Then I got some that like to have one a week. I love the smell of the tobacco and the humidor. But once you put a match to it, it turns me off.
Yeah. I got a client that as soon as he gets on the boat and we start fishing, it's a huge thick cigar that he pulls out, but that's just him. Donald says he loves the Maduro.
Oh, Donald.
I never smoked. I just was I used to work out a lot when I was younger, so I was always scared of smoking and putting.
Okay. If you're watching, Donald, you tell me how good these cigars are. I won this at the ESPN tournament. And of course, I'm out of cigars, and I was thinking of breaking the box up and giving some of these cigars to my friends that smoked. But you look at this and tell me if this is a good cigar.
And I couldn't tell you from Adam.
I couldn't tell you from Adam either. All I know is that,
Busto number 4.
Now, I did see them on the internet for about $180 discounted that box. So I know they're not cheap. Or
Right.
maybe cigars cost that much. I don't know. I got no idea since I'm not a cigar smoker. But Donald would know. All right, listen. It's funny.
He
Tell you how
said,
things.
"Holy moly, yes."
It is. All
Well,
right.
you might have to give one to Donald or give
All
some
right,
to
Donald.
Donald.
You call me tomorrow. Let's see if we can get together. I'm going to give you some. 'Cause like I
Yeah.
said, I've got a couple of clients that smoke cigars. I'm gonna give them some for Christmas, but
Yeah.
I got a
Don,
box of 25, man.
Don, Donald's always been good to us, and he's good to a lot of other people. He deserves some cigars.
That's right. So we're going to give you some cigars. That's from George and me. I'm gonna add
That's
that-
like I said, I don't know anything about cigars when it comes to what's a good one,
well,
what's
they
a
told me
bad one.
that's real good because this
I
was
like
at the ESPN, and this is what they were giving the people that smoke cigars to
Right.
smoke, and they weren't going to give cheap stuff away. So when I got home, I looked at the box and on the internet. I saw them for between $180 to $200 the box discounted. So I
I like
figured,
the ones. I like the ones that are. I don't know. I've smelled ones that have like a cherry scent to them. Those smell pretty nice. No, Donald, you're the
I couldn't
best,
even
buddy.
tell you what it smells like because I haven't taken the wrapper off the box.
Right, right. But I
Okay.
mean, I've smelled some cigars that were really like very smooth smelling, if you want to call it that, like really just smelled really good. And I've smelled some where it was like, oh man, I can't wait to get away from you.
Like I said, I like them. I got a little humidor. When I used to go to Cuba, I used to bring some Cuban cigars because I was allowed to. And I would
Right?
keep them in the humidor, about 3 or 4 of them. The rest I give them to my friends. And I just like the smell of the tobacco.
Yeah.
But like I said, once you put a match to it and all that smoke starts coming out, and I don't like to see people smoking in my boat because,
Yeah, the ashes.
well, not the ashes. About 6 or 7 years ago, I had a real good client that I took out almost every month, and he was a cigarette smoker. And I remember one of my brand new boat. I had the canvas T-top on it, and he is talking with a cigarette in his hand, and he puts it up against the canvas. Made a hole in my top, man.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But Jesus, it killed me. I cried.
Oh
when I
yeah.
got home.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that stinks, man. Um, God. Let's talk about bait a little bit.
All right.
Because a lot of times I can kind of be a little bit of a diehard with the white bait. I love my white bait, but I also know it's time that shrimp start kicking in and the lures start kicking in. But right now, you need to be going to the bridges, bridge pylons, range markers, getting that 10, 12, maybe even 15-foot deep, but 10 to 12 feet of water. That's where I'm finding right now. I picked some off on my last trip. And they're decent size. Usually when you're catching them in that depth, they're anywhere from 3 to 4 inches. So I mean they're nice, good sized baits. The last ones I got were 3 to 3.5 inch, which was perfect because big enough for snook and redfish, and also small enough for mangrove snapper and trout. So you can get a good mix. I really wish the other day when I was out there, I seen them on top of the water, and I got a bunch, but then they disappeared fast on me. That's the only thing. When the tide, I caught just the end of the tide, which was nice because my chum wasn't going real fast. But man, when that tide died, they just scattered on me.
And you and Eddie Caldwell. Eddie Caldwell says he doesn't care. He's going to use white bait. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I've just been catching the heck out of fish with my live
Right.
shrimp. I've been doing very well.
Yeah, see, I'll do both. Plus, I got the soft plastics with me all the time. Where Eddie is just strictly white bait, period.
See, he doesn't
So,
use artificials. I do. I
Yeah.
love those saltwater assassins, especially the PMV and the paddle
Yeah.
tails. Because
Yeah.
paddle tails, you can give it to anybody to use. All they got to
Oh
do
yeah,
is
just
just
reel
slow
it.
reel it, and
Yep.
it does all the action for them.
Yep, without a doubt, it makes it easy. Well, that's like Richard Seward, Captain Richard Seward. Mr. Trout. He used to use like the mirror lures and have his customers just do a slow retrieve with them and not really work them or nothing, and that would get them the fish. And I tell you, sometimes lures can save the day.
Oh, that's why on both of the boats, I have a bag full of artificials, and we have a bunch of the hard baits in there
Oh
too.
yeah, yep.
Because you never know. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it's funny. you get into a bunch of trout, why sit there and be putting shrimp? You can just cast that artificial and just catch one right after the other while they're biting.
Right. I had these brothers, Morris brothers, that used to come down every year and hire me 2 or 3 days. The 2 weeks that they were down, and we were fishing just outside of Christmas Pass, and I knew the redfish were there because I had been getting them all week. And we had nice medium-sized live shrimp, breaking the tails off, casting them out, working them, and they were not catching any redfish whatsoever. And I said, let me try something. I threw an artificial shrimp out on a 1/4 ounce jig head and started just reeling it across the bottom, letting it get caught and then letting go, caught and let go. We caught 8 redfish in about an hour on that artificial. And I got the real thing, and I was
Yeah,
catching
you
them on
didn't
the
want to hit it.
artificial. Unbelievable.
Maybe it's because you were working it across the bottom.
I don't know, because we were reeling the live shrimp too a little bit, and I had that happen last year. The canal that you've been fishing lately.
Right.
Last year, I was fishing that shrimp with the tails pinched off, and sure enough, I was a saltwater assassin, little P&V, reeling it along the bottom. We caught 4 redfish out of there doing that, just reeling it.
You remember the show you and I did up in Tarpon Springs
Oh
a
yeah,
year ago, so with Captain Larry Fritz. I
Yep.
mean, we tore up the trout, 60 trout or so in about an hour and something, strictly artificials.
right. I'm gonna announce this here that Donald just put up because we were talking about Captain Richard Seward. Next September 20th. So a little off, but he's just making the announcement. September 20th at Tampa Bay Watch is the Captain Richard Seward CCA All Release Tournament. Artificial baits only. It's like when they first started the Captain Mel tournament down there. Captains weren't allowed to do it. Finally towards the end, I think they opened it up to captains, but in the beginning, for a lot of years, the captains weren't allowed to fish that one.
No. And then they opened it. And Richard Seward was such a good captain, such a nice guy. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad they named it after him every year.
Oh yeah. He was so easygoing. He was very easygoing.
And even at the Gandy boat ramp, right where you clean your catch, they had a sign there. I don't know if it got tore down or not yet.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, right there where you clean your fish at the Gandy
Right.
boat ramp. Yeah, there was a Richard Seward thing talking about the Richard Seward Memorial thing. So
I have to look. On Wednesday, hopefully.
Of course, I haven't been. I've been to Gandy boat ramp quite a few times. I just haven't gone there to clean fish because I try not to kill any snook.
Right.
I really don't want to kill any redfish. And if they are going to keep them, I don't mind it if it's legal. But
minimize it. Minimize it.
I minimize this. Sheephead and mackerel.
Sure.
Some
All
trout.
day long.
Yeah, that's fine. But the redfish and the snook.
I'll tell you.
Once in a while, big flounder. Yeah, I even tell my people if the flounder is under 16 inches, it ain't worth keeping. There's not enough meat on it.
I tell you what, they messed up over there at that boat ramp is enclosing the fish cleaning station and making you throw your carcasses in that
those
box.
garbage cans. Yeah,
That's dumb.
we used to throw them into the water,
and the fish would eat it.
Yeah, there was snook, there was redfish.
I even had a cobia and tarpon.
And tarpon. And now you put them in the summer. If they
Oh,
haven't picked it up for a day or two, the stink is so bad.
It
'cause
is.
They don't pick it up every day.
Right. So now you got a couple things going on. You got a boat ramp that is unpleasant. So when your clients park in the car area, they got to walk past that and smell that. So that's
When it's
nasty.
coming from the south, it's going
Oh,
to
yeah.
hit 'em.
And then on top of that, now you got to pay somebody to come out there and empty this dumb thing to get rid of it. Where before we were actually feeding the fish. You were actually helping the fish population.
It's crazy.
I don't get it.
All right. Now, it's funny. Now, we only have your report and one from Pam.
No, there's more because they sent it to the other thing, I think,
Oh.
by accident.
Oh, the Hota had them. So who do
He
we
should.
have?
You got Mike Haynes,
Okay.
Pam, mine. I'd have to look on my phone to
have
see
Tony?
who else. Because they went to Tony. Yeah, Tony's on there. Because there was 2 different. What we gotta do to get with Holta, which one are we going to use, and then delete all the other ones.
Yeah.
Because what happens is I sent it to both because people were showing up on both. So I was like, which one are we using now? So I sent it to both of them.
Well, in that case, we better let's get Captain Michael Haynes on.
Yeah, because we have FWC and the podcast one running right now.
All right. So let's do the Michael Haynes, huh?
All right.
No, he says no. He said
It went to the other.
It went to the other one. Hold on, he said.
Yeah.
No, that's all I saw.
Yeah, it went to.
Oh man.
Because there's an FWC one, or Florida West Coast Fish Report link, and then there's also the podcast one.
Oh, the only two I showed was yours and Pam. Well, let's do Pam.
Run Pam's.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't. Maybe I don't know if Hulta can get on the other WhatsApp and pull it in.
Trout bite has been on fire. The average size that I've gotten today is 19 and 20. Big old fatty. I don't know if you can see, but I'm in the middle of a flat. I'm in about a foot and a half of water here at Fort DeSoto. Beautiful reds. It's about my 5th red today. Missed a big overslot, broke the leader. That was user error. But let's get him back in the water.
Oh, that was it.
Okay, you keep talking. I'm just forwarding.
The other one's the Hulta?
I'm forwarding them from one website to the other one.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, yeah, we do have some. Apparently, they got sent to the old podcast site, so we're getting some done. So, Jorge, Hulta, why don't you run George's? Meanwhile.
Hey guys, this is Captain George Hastic of Fish Hunter Fishing Charters coming to you from St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, if you're looking for whitebait, you need to look deeper right now. Your bridges, your pylons, your channel markers, range markers, things of that nature. You're looking to be about 10 to 15 feet deep. You can chum them up, if the current's moving not too fast, chum behind that range marker or pylon. Let that eddy take that chum down and kind of keep it close to the back end of the pylon. And watch your finder. A lot of times you'll actually see them visually. They'll come up off the bottom, and you can throw your net on that way. The snook are definitely going to eat those whitebaits. Redfish are still eating the whitebaits. But if you're going for snook, the whitebait is definitely the choice bait. Redfish will eat both right now. They're eating shrimp and whitebait. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to have both on board. The trout, same way. Lures, whitebait, and shrimp. All three of those are working. The lures I've been throwing is still that little P&V. They've got a new one out. It's called Pilchard. It's kind of like a brownish kind of color. It's kind of mixed. It's almost like a khaki kind of color, but that's been working pretty good. But I still like my chicken on a chain. That with a chartreuse tail on the end, that thing has really been doing dynamite for me. And I'm throwing it on a 1/4 ounce jig head and just fan casting. Look for areas for your trout to be anywhere from about 6 to 8 feet deep. The ones I'm finding right now are actually over grass bottom with a lot of sand holes and potholes in it. So, edge of the grass flat where it starts getting deep in that 6, 7 feet of water, that's where I'm finding trout at. Your snook, they're still all under the mangroves. You're also going to find them by the bridge pylons. Some of the docks are holding snook. And then the redfish, almost the same way, but the only difference with the reds is there's some reds that are actually out in the open. Maybe about 50 feet away from the tree line, but there's also some tucked up underneath. So kind of cover some ground. Look for your mullet schools. A lot of times if you have large mullet schools of larger mullet, they will stir up the bottom and scare the shrimp and bait fish out of the grass, and the redfish will be along with them picking off the free offerings. So there's kind of what you can look for right now, and good luck and get out there. Captain George.
All right, George. And were you able to get the other ones to Hota?
I forwarded to Holta. So what happened was, because there's both accounts still running, we need to delete everybody out of the one that says podcast reports and delete those, and because right now we're using FWC, Florida West Coast Fishery Report one.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I have to go back.
hopefully,
I didn't see the other one, but anyway, that's okay.
so I forwarded them. Tony's, Captain Tony's, Captain Michael Haynes, and then Michael Haynes' pictures. So you should hopefully get those. I don't know if you can pull them off there or not.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Right.
Another thing is, you say we got this cold weather's going to drop on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And if we do get, but although Christmas looks like in the 70s, the Christmas week, low 70s, but that might be good because that'll keep the trout action hot.
Yeah. Yep.
Plus, the full moon won't be as full by the weekend, because I'll tell you that was a big moon. That was sucking some water out of the bay.
It was. And they called it. I don't know what it is lately. It's like,
okay,
they keep making up these new names for all these moons now. They called that one a cold full moon.
Cold full moon. I've never heard of that one.
No, me neither.
Oh my God. All right, so we got some more. So
let's run it.
Let's do Michael Haynes then, if we have it.
Probably gonna do the pictures and then the report second, because it was a.
Okay, here we go. Keep trying. He's trying. Time of the year, you start doing some good grouper fishing in those shallow rocks.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun, And let's see. Well, we tried that one.
Mike, we got your pictures up. I sent the report too. He did a video report. Maybe you can get that to run.
Okay. Well, let's see. Can we get Tony Franklin?
It's last minute. Sure.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, no. Whenever you're ready, you just put one on and we'll shut up.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll keep talking. Don't worry. You could cut us right off.
Yeah, but not a problem. I did talk to Eddie Caldwell this week, and we're talking about the fishing he's been doing. And I tell you what, I got to give him, he's persistent. He went all the way down to St. Pete to get whitebait, then came up by water all the way up to, I think it's Gandy, Island, that area, went all the way back down.
Whoop, I heard a Tony Franklin for a second there.
Is it coming on?
I don't know. I heard the voice. Well,
so I got to give Eddie Caldwell, because he's, his thing is snook, redfish once in a while, but he wants to snook.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, snook was my thing for a lot of years. But this year, by nature, redfish have just turned on. I mean, I love my snook, but those UFOs are definitely messing up your video signals. That's
that or those drones.
Yeah, right. Well, now everybody, if we quote you anything like this, liability wise, you should always go check yourself to FWC rules. But we're going to give you a little bit of stuff that we've got in our emails. Gulf Red Snapper, Ron DeSantis has also extended this stuff. Now, he already gave extra days, but here's what's left. For the Gulf red snapper, December 20th through the 22nd, you can catch them and keep them. And then December 24th through the 31st. So those are extended days that we weren't supposed to have that they gave us. And then I already told you about the half off on all those licenses, and that ends January 3rd. So just keep an eye on that too. And
All
I think Sergio, you got some, right?
Yeah, and then FWC came out with a modified Gulf Greater Amberjack recreational season to open September 1st through October 31st each year. As its December meeting, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission approved a rule to modify the recreational season for Greater Amberjack and the state waters of the Gulf of Mexico to be consistent with the new season in adjacent federal waters. The recreational season for Greater Amberjack and Gulf State will open September 1st to October 31st each year. The Gulf Greater Amberjack stock is overfished and experiencing overfishing, and the modified season is intended to reduce harvest and help improve the status of the stock. The modified recreational season also provides additional protection during the greater spawning period from March through May. The modified Gulf Greater Amberjack recreational season will go into effect April 1st, 2025. So there you go. That's another rule change.
A little bit of everything.
I got another one here. FWC approves rule changes for Atlantic gag and black grouper recreational harvest. At the December meeting, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission approved a rule to modify recreational regulations for gag and black grouper to be consistent with current pending regulations in adjacent to Atlantic federal waters. So, establishing a combined 2-fish recreational vessel limit, prohibiting for hire captains and crew bag limit retention. So that means they're talking about 2 grouper, a combined 2-fish recreational vessel limit. Now, am I reading that right, George? That means only 2 fish per boat?
Read that again.
It says establishing a combined 2-fish recreational vessel limit. It doesn't say for person.
No, that's just like they did with the, remember with the redfish, when they did that with the redfish, per boat. You keep 1 per person, but it's 2 per boat.
Yeah, so it's only 2 per vessel, and then it prohibits for hire captain and crew bag limit retention.
Yeah, which that should be that way across the board on everything. I don't know why it shouldn't be.
The thing though, George, is, God, somebody spends all this money on a 26-foot boat and go out and catch a grouper, and you're talking about only catching 2 grouper per boat?
Oh, no. I'm saying the captain for hire should never be able to.
Captain for hire, yeah. And I tell you what, I like that because that keeps you and me, with the redfish. They can't say, well, Captain, can we count one for you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's illegal to do it. I can't do it.
Now, I just read, Donald said, when we were talking about the Captain Mel tournament earlier, he said he won the longest redfish. It was amateurs only. Like I said, it was amateurs. He took 3rd place also for combined inches. That's cool. And then Captain Anthony Corsella tuned in. So how you doing, Anthony?
Now, hold tight. Were you able to get anything fixed? All right, let's go.
Good evening, Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Well, trout are still in the river. Seem to be just about everywhere in the river, catching them on jigs, on shrimp, even on cut ladyfish. If you're coming down the river, stop up there at Kings Bay and throw a jig around, catch you a couple of nice little ladyfish you can put some chunks on. Those trout love it. And being that you get a nice chunk, you can kind of keep it from getting hung up too much in the rocks in the river. And it was very productive for us this week. Caught plenty of trout with cuts, with jigs, and with shrimp. So just seemed to be, when the low tide was going out, they were just hungry and they were just eating just about everything. But it didn't take very long, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour to catch your limit. So once you find them, just stay there. Won't take you long to catch your limit. And then you can head out for some sheep's head or mangrove snapper in the river. Mangrove snapper, as we know here, not very big in the river, but now that this winter has come in, some of those bigger mangrove kind of migrate to that area as well. So you might get you some nice size ones there. Sheepshead are also in the river. Plenty of reports of people catching sheepshead in the river. Just finding those hard bottoms, rock, anything like that that's kind of out of the current a little bit, and you'll find yourself a sheephead or two. The flats, went out Tuesday, I think it was. I had Rick and Gail on the boat, and when he stepped on the boat, all he said was he wants redfish, didn't want trout. So we went red fishing, and it was steady, consistent to a degree, but it just, it's wintertime. So we didn't sit in one place and just catch a bunch. We had to move around, and that's pretty much all I did. I got in the tower, hit the trolling motor, and just looking for fish. And once we found a few fish, I found some mullet first, kind of sat there for a minute, seeing if I could see a redfish poke out. And once they did, we knew to stop and start throwing our chunk ladyfish out there. Seemed to be the best bait that we had. Not only can you get it throwing far casts with sight fishing, you can kind of skip it on top of the water and make it splash very, very low to keep those redfish from spooking out in the area. But just about every time we stopped, we caught about 2 or 3 redfish. Just had a great day. And I will say, though, that the bite didn't really happen till the outgoing tide. So there's your pattern. We got in a little early, went with the high tide, found a bunch of fish. I think we spooked, there's only one place where we spooked about 30 fish out. There was a bunch of dinks in there, but some good qualities as well. But as soon as that tide turned around, we went back there, and those fish were there again. We did catch a few nice chunks there, but it was at the end of the day, and before we wrapped it up. But redfish is good, trout is good, sheepshead are good. We got cobia being caught out on the rocks and looking for some sheepshead, as well as some pompano. And I know the pompano are going to be moving up there in the Ozello area. So if you're fishing that area, pop you a jig with a shrimp on it, and not only catching your trout and redfish, but you might also get a pompano or two. Well, this is Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Thank you, Mike. And let's
Good
get
report.
George, let's get Tony Franklin on so we don't run out of time.
All right.
Hi, Captain Tony Franklin back with this week's fishing report. Well, we're still in that winter pattern. Weather's been cool. Water temperature's really cooled down. So it's really cool. The good part about this is we've changed the tactics, the areas we fish. We've moved to the backwater creeks. We've also moved to the residential canals, and a lot of these areas in the back country, a little bit of mud bottom, a little bit of deeper water. The water's a little bit warmer. We've been fortunate this week. We've caught quite a few silver trout, quite a few speckled trout. There's been some spots where the trout action has been phenomenal again this week. In some of the deeper holes in the back country, and some of the edges of the deeper mangroves. We've also had really good luck with sheephead this week. Some of the same areas, all on pieces of shrimp on a little split shot. We've had good redfish action, although we haven't had huge numbers. We've been catching some nice fish on each charter this week. There's been whiting in there. We've had some small black drum. We've had action with Jack Crevelle's ladyfish. We also had some bonnet head sharks. Snook action has been a little bit slow this week, but there has been, we have caught a few, and there has been reports of some being caught in some of the creeks where the water is a little bit warmer to the north of the Tampa Bay area. So there's quite a bit of action out there. You just got to change your tactics, slow things down. Shrimp is definitely the bait of choice right now. There's some bait fish still around the bridges, but the water is really cool. The bait fish are not as productive this time of year when it gets cooler. So there's plenty of action out there. No excuse not to get on the water. So go ahead, get out on the water, catch you some fish, tight lines, and I'll definitely see you next week.
All right.
All right.
All right, Tony.
I just want to take a second here. Captain Anthony recently lost his mother, so I want to send out our condolences to him.
Sorry about that, Anthony.
Know that she's in a better place right now, and she's looking down at you, buddy.
And we got
So I just
Captain
wanna-
Scott Moore tuned in.
I don't see that on my end, but I believe you.
Mo's in here. We got Roger.
I got Roger.
Another
Roger
team?
Bird.
Yeah,
Yeah, boy.
we got Captain Scott Moore, and but by the way, we had a good time. I got to meet some nice people over Boat Motor and Superstore. They had that big thing for the kids, and the people that didn't go, you missed out. Everybody got a meal ticket, and this was free. Okay, it
Right,
wasn't. It was Frenchie's and another big name restaurant. If you went to Frenchie's with that ticket, you could go to either one of them. They have two big tents and get whatever you wanted. Okay. They had, if you got the stone crab claws, they gave you 4 big claws and all the side dishes to go with it. The other restaurant had pulled pork, had fried shrimp. They had jambalaya. I mean, it was great. Then they gave you a ticket for an ice cream. And I'm thinking, okay, it's an ice cream. So about 2:30, I went around the back where the ice cream truck was. You could get hot fudge sundaes, milkshakes, anything that they served. It was all for free. You give them a ticket, tell them what you wanted. A big milkshake, you got it. And then they had rides for the kids, these bouncy stuff and all this other stuff. They had boat rides. No, I tell you what, Boat Motor Superstore really did a super job. But I got to meet some of the people I haven't seen in a while. Jeff Page was there with Power Pole, on the booth.
right.
And the Minn Kota people were there. They had their big van there with all their newest, latest Humminbird stuff. There was another guy that had a great product, a cooler. So, I mean, it was some really nice people there, and just got to meet a lot of people. And it was nice.
Right.
It's nice to be able to meet with them, But who else do we have, Hota, that we haven't hit?
I think that's it.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah,
I just
that's
want to make
it.
sure we didn't leave anybody out. I know that Bucky hadn't gone out. He was going to try to go the other day. And like I said, the boat ramp was closed. So he just went home. He was just going to go looking, but I hope this wind does die down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not looking good for Wednesday at the moment, but they get it wrong. I mean, so we'll have to see. Like I said, tomorrow afternoon, 3:00, we'll talk.
Yeah. And I hope we can get out. I mean, unless it's the rain, the wind, we got a couple of spots that we can hide and do a show and catch
It's
some
the
fish.
rain. Yeah, it's the rain.
We can do a big trout show with artificials. So I ain't worried about that. It's the rain. So if the
Right.
rain gets down to 40%, we can take a chance, because
Yeah, that's
we're going to take the Skeeter and we got some coverage there.
Right.
The
Right.
beaver tail would be sometime next week. We'll take the beaver tail and go up north end of the bay into real shallow water and see what happens. Now, the other thing when you have a lot of wind, though, is it affects the shrimpers.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's always a thing.
that's right. That's the other thing you got to look at. But like I said, cold weather, the way the weather's been, the trout bite is good. I ain't worried. We can fish artificials all day and catch fish.
Oh, yeah. We got plenty of saltwater assassins and,
Everything else.
oh, yeah.
And you heard what Mike Haynes says, most of his redfish up north is coming from cut ladyfish.
Right.
So,
I tell you, a cut ladyfish chunk, you can cast that a mile. You can skip it under the trees. I mean, that's a good chunk of bait.
now, one of the things you got to remember, if you're going to use cut bait, you want to use a kale hook. And I'm sure everybody knows what a kale hook is, but if you don't, a circle hook, a kale circle hook, what it is, it's a wide gap circle hook. So in other words, a 2-aught kale hook has got the opening of about a 3 or 4-aught hook.
Yeah.
So
Now I don't use a kale hook, but I do move up to a 2-aught hook. And then when I hook the bait, I don't hook the hook deep. This way there's a lot of exposed hook, which is basically what you're getting with your kale hook. You're getting a lot of big gap so you can get the good hookup.
Yeah.
So you don't want to bury, like me, I'm using a regular circle hook, but I move up to a 2-aught. You don't want to bury that hook to where the meat is blocking the hook set, basically.
when the fish bites down, if that whole hook doesn't come out and get that,
Right.
yeah, the point, and you're going to lose him. You're just going to
Yeah.
get a bite. He's going to run and he'll rip the bait off the hook.
And sometimes, like they were saying about seeing some larger snook, but them not wanting to bite. I've taken ladyfish and actually filleted them long ways down the bone on each side and then cut strips. So you get a lot of meat bleeding. It's got a lot of scent on it, but the strip, because it's a strip, doesn't impair the hook set because there's nothing in the way. You're just going through a very thin piece of meat, but you got a lot of exposed meat, so it acts like a big chunk.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I always carry 2-aught KO hooks, because a lot of times, especially, I don't like big ladyfish. I like these smaller ladyfish because when you cut them into chunks, it's a nice sized chunk.
Right.
Not too big, not too
Right.
small. You can cut them. You can cut it wide because it's not that
Right.
overall length. Yeah. And I tell you what, I don't know what it is about ladyfish that the big snook and the big reds, they like them.
It's just oily, it's just so oily and it gets their mouth watering.
And of course, they're good eating. I proved that in one of the shows, in Spanish shows. We ate, Jota and I and Roberto, he made them. We had ladyfish fish cakes. And let me tell you, if I didn't tell you what they were, you would have thought it was very good. And Michael Haynes says, that he
Through the
goes,
belly portion of the
and
cup.
the day we went out and caught those big redfish with him on ladyfish, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Just hook it
And
to
then,
the belly.
like me, if I do get a large ladyfish, like you're saying, I'll cut it into chunks. Then I'll stand the chunk up on end and then I'll cut that chunk in half. So I have two sides. And then it makes just the right thickness of chunk to where it's not going to affect your hook set. But again, a lot of exposed meat, just putting that scent out there.
Yep. And right now, remember, as the weather starts to drop too, George, those fish are going to go deeper and get sluggish. So cut bait. If you want the big snook and the big reds, use that cut bait on the bottom.
Yep.
And it works great. Just put a little split shot. I use the number 4 split shot. Put it about 3 inches from the hook, and just clip it on there. What it does, it just kind of keeps the bait on the bottom. And I think part of it is all these little trash fish will come and start munching on it, and it takes a while to eat it all up. So the commotion they make and
Sure.
tear it up, it puts another scent. Then the big mama snook and the big mama redfish, they're walking along the bottom because they don't want to burn a bunch of energy. It's cold. They're going to be down deep. Man, they'll take that chunk bait. In fact, they do it in the summer when it gets too hot. They do the same thing. They're on the bottom. They don't want to. There's not enough oxygen.
People a lot of times get mad when the pinfish start chomping on your cut bait, and they get mad because they know, they're going to eat it all off there. It's not a bad thing. It's actually attracting the larger fish to your bait, because one of two things happen. When that rod tip stops bouncing, they either got the whole piece off your hook finally, or a big fish just moved in. They all just scattered and disappeared. And then all of a sudden you see that rod get that nice thump, and here it comes.
Right. So,
well, we are out of time.
We're out of time. But now remember, everybody, please, if you're listening in, the next 2 Mondays, we won't be on the air because it'll be, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, the holidays. And we figure a lot of people are going to be traveling and we're not going to get a lot of fishing reports anyway. But we will be on the first Monday
in January.
So God bless. Have happy holidays. May the good Lord watch and bless everybody. And thank you very much for listening in.
Have a good Christmas and Happy New Year.
God bless.